All right, we are recording, and hopefully my compatriot, friend, and head of Fightbackmedia.com is going to be joining me. I just sent him a link, so we shall see how this might work. We shall see, we shall see. Paul Swansen with you from The Swansen Report, theswansenreport.net, theswansenreport.net, theswansenreport, .net. And let's see what's going on here. Let's see. I know Willie was talking about the second impeachment, which ended today. So let's see if there he is.
Here I am in all my glory, whatever hey, that means.
Great minds think alike. Look at that.
That's how we roll, baby. That's how we roll. How are you this glorious day, my man?
All right, we are doing well. I don't know what that, hey, first time at Twitch, and who knows what. I've got one little audio glitch here somewhere, but Zoom seems to work, so
There you go. Apparently it was a Twitch thing. Yeah, I've done a couple of lives from Twitch. It seems to work. I don't know. I usually do it on Sunday night. I get people in the chat room, and of course we get resistance or whatever. So, but we just sort of massage it down to where I'm right and they're wrong. That's how we do it.
That's right.
So impeachment 2.0 has turned into acquittal 2.0.
And we're surprised about that. Why?
Not. Like I don't know if you heard, but on Twitch, my question was this: okay, the Democrats have spent, and I don't want to think that. Please check me if you think I'm exaggerating this. Have spent Donald Trump's entire presidency, even before when he was coming down the escalator, trying to find a reason for impeaching him. Correct. The entire time. Literally all 4 years.
Yep, April of 2016 was the first printed reference to the Democrats wanting to impeach him.
I remember it. I remember all this emollients clause sort of stuff, or having dignitaries stay in Trump in Trump Tower in D.C. and all this stuff. So they've been talking about that since jump, before the dude was actually president.
For almost 5 years now.
Now that they own, they own. I mean, we're not even going to have. We could have a discussion. We're not going to have a discussion. I'm not going to have a discussion unless you want to about how they now own the House, and now and I'm going to have to get you to explain to me how come they have a majority leader in the Senate. I don't understand that. And now they have the White House. Will they be able to stop talking about Donald Trump?
No. I mean, it's been so ingrained for almost 5 years now. I don't. They may initially talk about some other things or some other subjects, but I think it's going to be, in Jen Psaki's terminology, it's going to circle back to Donald Trump.
Everything is going to circle back.
Yeah.
Circle back to Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it's been interesting, and I'm sure you've seen this, that the, there's been no other conversation other than the impeachment. No rah rah, look, hey, we've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got the presidency, and look what we're doing. And it's what? There's no groundswell, there's no rallies, none of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. There's been no victory lap. How do you win the Senate, win the House, and the presidency, and depose Donald Trump and not take a victory lap?
Right.
It
Well,
doesn't make any sense. You've been talking about it for 4 years. That has been the major focus for 4 years. And now that you get that, you're going to act like it didn't happen. You're going to keep on the same thing. It's like, you know what it'd be like? It'd be like if the Buccaneers decided they weren't going to have a boat parade where Tom Brady gets blitzed on his yacht and tosses the Lombardi Trophy across the river because they were still worried about the game. Game is over. You won.
Yep.
You can stop worrying about the game.
Yeah, there's been, and now I can't see that they are going to be able to just completely stop and, okay, let's get on with the business of the country.
It would seem to me all you'd have to say, Paul, was this. Hey, listen, Nancy Pelosi could get up to the podium, as I think that she had a few martinis before she got up there, but that's just me. It could seem like you could say she could defend her House managers, which she should have. Say what a great job they did. Say, hey, we thought we did the right thing. We still believe we did the right thing. And now it's time to get on with the business of the country. How hard is that to do? That's an adult thing to do. I don't think anybody on either side of any aisle would fault Nancy Pelosi for saying we did a great job. I believe in our House managers. I believe in what we did. The system did what our system of government did, what our system of government does, and now it's time to move past the Trump era into the era of the average American. I mean, you could twist it a little bit and kick Donald Trump in the ass a little bit on the way out, but isn't it time to let it go? In the words of Disney's worst musical ever, let it go. Good God, let it go.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a long time, if at all, before they're still going to figure out a way to continue to. It's nice. You notice the bottle disappears when you do that.
Because it's green.
Yes.
It's green.
No, they're not going to be able to do that. It's in any way, shape, or form. They're going to, like I said, they'll continue to circle back to that. I really have some, I have some real doubts as to whether or not they're going to be able to, pick up and say, okay, well, now it's time to get on with the business of the country. And here's our legislative agenda. Well, they've got some things, sitting on the sidelines, which are real crap. HR 127 for, what I can think of right offhand. HR 1, the one that's about elections. I think I've written about both of those already. There has been, I think you and I, there's been some talk about the, now 40 or more, executive orders that Biden has signed. And I think you and I are the only ones who have done any sort of discussion about them. I've seen some references to them, but nobody's really, delved into them at all that I've seen. Now, that doesn't mean that they haven't, but.
Well, it would seem like would seem like somebody should now. unfortunately, the people who probably should are the New York Times and the Washington Post, and and that ilk.
Yeah.
But they're not going to.
No.
They're simply not going to. And I think that's something else that we have to understand here on the right, that what we thought that was and something that we've learned in the past 5 years anyway, is that the people that we thought we could depend on in the media and the press to do their job and to be, journalists, blah, 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 all that's bull crapping out the window. And it may be at least for now, and it may be forever. So we're not going to hear about, wow, that's a whole bunch of executive orders. Oh goodness. And what are the repercussions, or what are the unintended consequences from all of this? I was talking about at the end of the Twitch, when you stop the Keystone pipe, I mean the XL pipeline, that actually, that's just that little bit of the pipeline, because this Keystone pipeline freaking everywhere, by the way. What you do is you scare a whole industry, and they contract a little bit, and their prices go up because they're going to protect their profits regardless, because that's what adults do.
Yeah.
Gas prices.
I've seen, gas prices here have gone up by 20 to 30 cents a gallon, probably since even the first of the year.
Yes, same here. But that's not even the end of it. The end of it is again, I got a big education from a lady by the name of Maria Tedder, that I met at the RNC back in 2012, I think, about energy. And the deal is, it's not gas that's the problem. It's going to be electricity that's the problem. Because you can avoid gas, depending on where you live. You may not ever. I mean, some people, I don't think you can live your life in certain cities and never buy a gallon of gas, so you don't care. But you do have electricity in your home. Most people who aren't living in the Ozarks have electricity in their home. Your refrigerator doesn't run on butane unless you have a trailer. Your refrigerator runs on electricity. That's where you keep your food. That's where, when you walk into the bathroom, that's not an outhouse, like I said, in the Ozarks, you expect to turn a light on and be able to sit on a toilet. You expect hot water to come out of the spigot, or the faucet. Spigots are outside, faucets are inside.
Thank you for that distinction.
It's important. Using the right words is important.
That's right.
So this is where those prices are going to increase. You're going to get that electric bill, and you're going to see, oh, there's a fuel addition, because their fuel costs went up. So now you're getting from it, and people will tend to blame the electric companies as opposed to where the real problem started.
Right. Well, and as I'm starting to see, and I think I've sent you a couple of things, but really, instead of railing and weeping and wailing and gnashing our teeth and raising our fists against Washington, D.C., it needs to be done on a local level. You need to be calling to account your local, here it's XL Energy. I don't know what it is down there, but you need to find your local power company and let them have it.
Yeah, unfortunately, my power company is owned by is a subsidiary of a Canadian company. Yay! So happy about that. That Tampa Electric Company is owned by a Canadian company. Yay!
But I mean, the whole principle there, though, is you've got to, you and all the other neighbors who have suddenly gotten a marked increase in their monthly bill need to go down and stand on the doorstep and let them know that you're not happy with it.
Yeah, and
because that's good. That's going to filter back up.
And local companies here anyway, for regular and price increases, they actually have to ask the state for large price increases. They don't have to ask the state for fuel increases, but regular increases they do. But I don't think they will. I think they're smart to go. Maybe we shouldn't do that now. Maybe we should hold off because people are going to be pissed, and politicians are going to go, "Oh no, we're not touching that." So this is going to be very, very interesting how this plays out. But then again, Paul, we have to remember, where does this start? This particular rabbit trail started at the president's desk day one.
Correct.
This is not a Donald Trump thing. This is on the desk of Joe Biden.
Yep.
Period. End of story. And I think what you and I are doing, what other people need to do is, and I tell people all the time, we need to take all of these things and we need to archive them and hold on to them and make sure that if we find stuff, it doesn't get banned off the internet, it doesn't get scrubbed, that we hold on to this information and we can use it in our circle before it gets scrubbed from the internet, that we have it. So we can use it to make our cases for anything that we need to make our case for.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And that's, what you and I have been doing independently of one another and together in some cases with some stuff. But,
Yes.
we've got an archive, we've got access to resources, not only informational resources, but also resources where we can put this type of information out, like BitChute, like Rumble, like some of the other places where we can do this type of stuff, like the newsletter that goes out. We can email, until your ISP decides that they're going to cut your email off.
Could be.
Yeah, but
Could happen.
At that point, you got to be real serious to be wanting to read all the emails that go through.
Yeah, that could happen, and then maybe we go back to snail mail. Maybe we go. My thought is you use whatever part of the system that you have left available to use. You don't throw your hands up. You don't give up because now it's not convenient.
No, there are a number of tools certainly available to all of us to, secure our communications in such a way that, only the most vehement prying eyes are going to, are going to at some point get into it. But, for the most part, we still have an ability to communicate.
And I think, and again, and you're absolutely right. And I think that those of you who are seeing this later, you have to communicate. You have to go local, go hard, go local, and communicate. Do not suffer in silence. And at the same time, though, we have to make sure that we use some discernment from some of the stuff that we get. I don't know about you, Paul, and my Facebook IM gets full of some of the craziest, outrageous stuff that it sets what little hair I have on fire. And
Yeah.
I just want to get on my roof and go, stop it, stop it. So we have to show some discernment. Maybe use one of those tools that you use as a professional journalist in the military about verifying sources. And before you start sharing stuff that just makes you feel good about it, yes, get them. That you don't do that so much, but indeed you verify, that you wait and you verify and see if you've seen that somewhere else, and then you see if those are sources that you can actually trust. But there are tools available to all of us.
You've got to look, hey, Google and DuckDuckGo, quick thing, you put in the subject line and see what else comes up. If there are, 3 or more places reporting on the issue and they're not a syndicated story, but, there are 3 sources that are reporting on this, then it's probably a pretty good, solid story and you can go with it. But I've seen some, oh, that looks interesting. And I looked at one today and, it's like, oh, that's interesting. Well, I've only seen one syndication, but a couple of places, and I'm going, all right, I need to kind of hold off on this before we publish anything. Interesting thing, but until we find out for sure. And yes, be nice. Like, to get back to one of your things, we've got to be discernful, use some discernment.
There you go. That right there.
That right there. But I have started to, in some instances, send handwritten notes, handwritten cards to my not only state representatives, but also Ron Johnson and Tammy Baldwin on a couple of issues, because they read those. It's amazing. A handwritten note or a voicemail just gets the tick box of, okay, we got another one for this on this side or that side. But you got a handwritten note from a constituent. Hey, I live in your district, and here's what I think about this particular issue. And be nice. Hey, thank you for, I just wanted to write to you to let you know I'm supporting this issue, and I wish you would too. Just thank you for your time. And that's it. Doesn't need to be long-winded or anything, but they read those. And that I haven't gotten any real responses yet. I've gotten two, I think, kind of formulaic responses, and those were from some other things, but I'm waiting to see what sort of responses I get. But those work. The staff member who takes those is going to go, hey, you got a letter here from a constituent.
As opposed to the form letter emails that they get billions of, and they don't. And I'm just going to tell y'all, they don't work. No one's reading them. No one cares. They read the first one and they go, "Oh, here's another one just like it."
Well,
another one just like it.
Now here's one of the other things I've found, and I have asked or queried the individual who has sent this particular one out. I think you need to check your information, just as we were talking about, because what they're referencing has no basis in reality.
I get those in my Facebook IM every day.
Well, and it's not IM. I mean, it's an email list. Ostensibly, a lot of them, let's put this out. We're looking for money. We want a $5 or $10, whatever contribution. Well, your request would be much more credible were it accurate.
Accurate, close to reality.
Yeah. Say, hey, maybe you need somebody to proofread this, before you go send it out. So you've got to take those. I cut down a lot of my, my email list, stuff that comes in just for that very reason. It's 99% of it are just monetary requests. Okay,
a lot of that. A lot of people, asking for money for this and that and the other. And I'm not sure how asking for money a lot of times translates into, legislation and legislative initiatives. Sometimes for me, Paul, it seems a long way from the $5 donation to the legislative change that you're trying to get made. That I just don't see the direct connection sometimes. Send us money so we can tell Congressman Whoosy what's it that we want him to do this. I got an idea. Why don't I just tell Congressman Whoosy what's it?
Yeah. Remember who he works for?
Works for me, so I got it. I got him on. Wait, I got Whoosy what's on the speed dial. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I'm the constituent in his district. I voted for that individual, or not, but they work for me.
I think that we need to get. I think we need to get back to that mentality. Now we saw all the Facebook posts about the 7 Republicans in the Senate that voted for conviction, And I see that, and I haven't started posting on that yet. But you know what? There's nothing I can do about Susan Collins. Nothing. I can't do a thing about Susan Collins. I can't do anything about Bill Cassidy. If the people who live in his district want Bill Cassidy to be their senator, then Bill Cassidy will be their senator. If people still will send Lisa Murkowski back to the Senate, it's not any worse or any better than the people who keep sending Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters back to the House.
Exactly.
The only people that I control, I mean, my biggest frustration is Kathy Castor. She lives in she actually doesn't live in my district, by the way, but they don't have to. She's the representative for my district. But as far as my state senators go, I have Rick Scott and Marco Rubio, who I can communicate with and do. But as far as Susan Collins, nothing I can do about Susan Collins. There's nothing I can do about Mitch McConnell. But you know, the thing is, there are a lot of people who can.
Exactly.
And don't realize, and don't seem to realize that they can. There are a lot of people that can actually have an impact.
And it starts
on, I'm encouraging them to do so.
Yeah, and it starts on that local level. You've got to start to take back your county, you know, and move on up from there. And within the political party. And you and I've talked about political parties before. The thought of the evolution of starting a brand new party, no thanks. I don't see that happening.
First of all, George Washington was right to start with. Political parties would be a pain in the ass and be more trouble than they're worth, and Washington was correct. But they're the vehicles that we have available to us at this point. Right.
So, and I was just listening to something today, and I need to find out, I think I sent you a link to it, but the thing that we need to do is start within our own local county, county Republican, county, whichever party you're with. If you don't like either side, well, that's fine. But, there are a lot of the infrastructure within the party has gone wanting for a long time. There are lots of vacancies, and the individual I was listening to was saying that probably 50% or more of people who would hold office in a, say the local Republican Party, those spots aren't filled. So there's nobody to do the work.
Yeah, where I am, there are in the what do they call the Hillsborough County Republican Executive Committee. Every precinct in the county can have a precinct chair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the person that goes to the executive committee, and most of those are open.
Yeah, so you can step in and say, "Hey,
our local party has.
I want to be that person," and you're going to get it. Yep.
You want to win your first election? Show up to the meetings. And unfortunately, our local party has suffered a lot. And I think that there's only 158 or so members in the executive committee, when there were 7 years ago, there was over 400.
Right.
So it's taken a big hit. So a lot of precincts are simply not represented at all. Yeah, and you're right. It's getting back to that. It's getting back to doing some retail politics, knocking on your neighbor's door. Hey, how are you doing? Listen, I don't know what you think about this, but we're having a community meeting about this thing that's happening in the county. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you come. We'd love to have your opinion. We'd love for you to be on the Zoom, whatever you feel safe doing. Yeah. And that's the stuff that will make the difference.
Exactly.
It isn't the president that shut your state down. Your mayor shut your city down. Your city council shut your city down. and closed your business. It's your county commission that shut down your business and made it so you couldn't get a haircut. Those are the people that you have to deal with first.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's like I said, it's a there's a lot of openings, and to get people of our like mind and thought processes and critical thinkers who can
You know, it's funny. You say that all the time, like you're like I'm sort of included in that, but I never felt that I was one of those people. I always thought I was an off the cuff emotional individual. I always felt that that was me. I
but
guess not, huh?
no, well, it just comes naturally to you, Willie. Come on. But there's to get those people, and some people are going to say, hey, yes, I'll come, and some people are going to go, yeah, not for me. Okay,
I
fine.
don't want any part of that stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. But look at, and I would have to look at our numbers here, but especially, and this is a whole nother issue, but we have a primary in April here. Not a, you'd think, why do I want to vote in a primary? It's an off year. It's nothing important. Well, it's state superintendent for schools. How long have the schools been closed? Well, here they're kind of off and on, but it's been the better part of a year. So, and not that there are either of the two people that I've heard about are real strong conservatives, but better than nothing, better than the other ones who are who are running. But there's only, now here's the other thing, there's only one issue on the ballot. The big ballot. It's going to take you maybe 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. By the time you walk in and you show them your ID and you sign the poll book and you go fill out the ballot. Not real difficult, but it's important. So, there are those things that need to be done, and we need to tell people about, here, you need to, I don't care who you vote for, but here are a couple of choices that would be very good for the state. Now, the on the other side of that, and I have to get some clarification on this, but the local county clerks were all upset because of COVID and having to do all this extra stuff for, preparing ballots and preparing polling places and whatnot. So in our particular area, they combined all the city precincts into one. So they only had to print one ballot. Well, there's only one issue on the ballot.
So they were afraid of the Rona. So instead of spreading people out,
Yeah,
they're going to bring them all into one place.
but there's only one, it's like, oh, we have to print all these, different ballots because of different issues. Well, there's only one issue on the ballot in the primary.
There's only one thing.
Like I said, I need to get some clarification on that, but that's at least what I'm reading right now is like, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Well, it doesn't have to. All you have to do is say anymore.
No.
It doesn't have to make any sense. It doesn't have to be true. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be reasonable. So we're going to we're scared of Rona. So we're going to bring everybody in close. Come on now.
Yeah.
As opposed to having more precincts spread out in more areas to be safer, that would seem to be the thing to do.
Yeah.
You haven't increased the number of voters, so ultimately you won't be producing that many more ballots, really, because
Not that
you
much
haven't
more
increased
work.
the number of people.
Nope.
Get some clarification on that dumbassery, because that is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a little silly. I got to find out. Fortunately, I know the county clerk, so I can
Yeah,
Like
please, please.
I can get, I can get a,
I'm
I can
looking
get a
forward.
good, now I don't know if you've done much reading. I've had we've had what, three, at least two Zoom meetings this week. I've got another one on Monday and another one on Wednesday coming up. The local county is now listening to proposals about carbon tax credits.
Yes, that's coming. I've seen that.
And I'm going, have you guys really done your due diligence on this?
Nope. Political virtue signaling.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that, but I'm wondering, is because of the financial strain on the local communities that here's a way, because they can't raise their taxes other than through property taxes. So they're looking at, here's another source of income. Yep. And it's a 40-year contract.
40?
40 years. Initial 10, and then they can go on from there.
That's just stressful.
Yeah, and I want to know is like, okay, so it's for county land. So how much acreage are we talking for the entire county? That's actual county lands. Because they're not talking about the trees on my property or the trees next door or anything. It's on county lands. And what is, this is not this carbon, carbon credits is not anything that's tangible. Thank you very much.
You can't add them up. You can't gather them up.
Nope. It's not, you can't see this because
this is not a carbon credit.
No.
This is a ink cartridge for my printer.
Exactly. It's not well, you can't see that either. Oh, well, whatever.
Not a screwdriver.
No. There you go.
See, not a highlighter.
It's not,
or a bottle of San Pellegrino.
Yeah.
It's not. It's some sort of, God knows what it actually is.
It's some smoke and mirrors. I think that's but they're looking at the bottom line, and I mean, it was an interesting presentation, and I was in the midst of reading. I started to read some stuff on it, and I'm going, I don't know about this. I didn't even bring up Al Gore or any of those wonderful people, but
no, you don't have. You see, at this point, I don't believe you have to. You can look at. We should be able to look at all these issues on the merit of those issues.
Yes.
We look at it and go, how is this going to affect you and I here and now? It's going to be deleterious. We're talking about a 40-year contract. I don't think that government should be involved in 40 years of anything.
No.
Anything. That is, that's well beyond your purveyance. I mean, it's 40 years, a generation? No. First of all, that's a problem.
Yep.
That those of you who are sitting on the board or the county commission or the city council or the mayor's office or wherever making these decisions, entering into these contracts long after you are going to be dead, probably. No.
The long after those individuals are off the council and probably can't remember what they were doing.
Yes.
We did that? What?
Who did this? This is stupid.
Yeah.
Cut down those damn trees. Yeah, it's just stupid. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's just and I'm not, I think it's more of a monetary issue. They're looking at a bottom line going, oh, hey, look at this. After a year and a half or 2 years, we could be not exactly rolling in the dough, but they've got another income stream.
Yeah, but you know what? We found out, Paul, that no matter whatever the new income stream is, and they think it's going to be this panacea. We know that it never is, right? It's never as much as they thought. It would be. It didn't work out like they were going to, and they'll have to do what? They'll have to expand. We'll have to expand this. The whole idea of taxing the rich, on a federal level. Anybody who make what was it? Obama $400,000, whatever it was,
Yeah.
and everybody who could do arithmetic knew that was BS because we could do arithmetic, not even math. We didn't have to be economists. We didn't have to be mathematicians. All we had to do was be able to handle a four-function calculator. You know what I'm saying? The TI ones that you could write when we were in elementary school and junior high school. If you wrote Shell, you could write Shell Oil. You could write
Yep.
hell upside down. um, that's all you got to be able to do to figure out. Wait a minute, there aren't enough people to do that. So that was all BS. And all these things that are going to pull funds into the community, we're going to get dollars into the community that way. We know that stuff never works, and they always have to expand it from county line or county property to your property at some point. That's a foregone conclusion. That is going to happen.
Well, it doesn't need to be as long. Yeah, it's way beyond the purview of the county, and it's after the couple of years. Well, gee, this really isn't quite working the way it should have, and guess what? ADD kicks in, and squirrel! Look at this brand new shiny little thing that is going to do all sorts of wonderful things for us.
Yes. Avoid it like the plague. Avoid it like Rona. Just say no. No. How about if we try for 3 months and see how it works? Let's try for a year and see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it doesn't meet these goals that we can set for now, then we just continue it. That's part of the referendum. That's part of the law. If it doesn't achieve these numbers, verifiable, then we stop doing it.
Because there's all sorts of stuff that they didn't talk about. Hey, what if we have a big tornado up here and most of the forests get obliterated? What if suddenly, a year and a half from now, somebody taps their magic wand and global warming and climate change is suddenly miraculously gone away? Now what do you do?
Or we find out that your climate change wasn't nearly as bad as you were claiming.
Exactly.
Which is more likely to happen.
What?
Well, yeah.
They lied to us?
Yes, we still have polar bears, and the ice caps are not melting. They are transferring though, but they're not melting, and the sea levels are not rising. South Beach is still not underwater. All these horrible things that were supposed to happen and by now have not happened, and so they won't happen in the next 5 years or 10 or 15 years. Then what?
Well,
if you're wrong, then what?
Well,
or when you're wrong. Actually.
What has happened here? When we moved here now almost 6 years ago, everybody's hair was on fire and they were running around and oh my God, the Lake Superior levels are way down. They're not going to be able to do shipping in the lakes anymore. The Soo locks are going to have to shut and all that. And then last year, oh my God, the lake levels are so high. What are we going to do with our local marinas? They're going to have to be redone. and you go, guys, have you bothered to look at the sort of cyclical nature of lake levels?
Yeah, again, and you don't, and all you have to do is be able to go, wait, oh, wow, they go up and down, don't they? Yeah. Well, have they been doing it a long time? Well, yes, forever. Yes, this is how it happens. I always tell people, I'm not that smart a fellow. You can test me. I mean, I'm not that smart a fellow. but I do know that we live on this ball that is alive, and it changes, and there are cycles, and I do believe at one point it was barren, and then and at another point it had stuff everywhere, and there were not people yet, so it didn't have anything to do with me driving my SUV. Just did. And yes, actually, there's a place in Central Florida as we're driving north that we call the Plains. It's it's flat as a pancake, and it's sort of dipped down, and it's where one of the ice ages ended as it got into what we now call Florida. Yes, there was an ice age, and it was in Florida, and it wasn't last week when it was in the 40s. That's not what we're talking about.
Another story.
Completely different story. So the planet changes. It's a living, breathing thing. It changes. And there's cycles, and we can watch them, and we have evidence of them changing. And so we can't get all stupid about every change that happens that we can actually see and measure. But you know what they are? You said it already. You said that it is an opportunity for a money grab.
Yep. That's it. It's the old adage of follow the money.
It's a money grab. Anytime you can have a money grab for it, and they do. Because now they can get you scared. They can get people jacked up about it, and now we should be investing in our future. We're all going to die in 12 years. Are we still going to die in 12 years? Is the Earth going to stay over?
I don't know. We got to figure out, have they changed the have they changed the time?
Has that been pushed back at least 3? I'm not sure.
Could be. I don't know.
Well, last I heard, from the source, that we had 12 years. And Greta Thunberg was really mad at you.
That's right.
How dare you? I guess I shouldn't make fun of autistic teenagers. I guess I shouldn't do that. But anyway.
That's all right.
So what's the next thing on your agenda, sir? Because next week's going to be full of acquittal stuff, at least early on. Are you gonna circle back?
I'm gonna ignore all of the emails and stuff. I see the news stuff come across, and the acquittal is file it. Give me some real news. Give me something new and pertinent to what's going on.
What a word.
Pertinent. Like I said, let's see. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day for all of those of you who have forgotten at 11 after 11 or 12 after 11, or here it's 12 after 10 in the evening.
Well, at 12 after 10, you guys can still go out and, I don't know,
head to the
gas station and get some gas station flowers.
Head to the grocery store, head to Super One.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Just don't. Come up with something else.
The lovely and talented lady of the house did get some flowers today, so that was okay.
There you go.
And we're going out tomorrow, so
nice.
Like I said, there's what's tomorrow? Tomorrow is the township Zoom meeting. I love all these. You and I had this conversation before. GoToMeeting and Microsoft Teams and Zoom, and I got all sorts of stuff here. But I don't know. I got township meeting on Monday, city council on Wednesday. I've got to finish up the newsletter, which will go out tomorrow.
Nice.
And I have to check and see what's the odometer reading on Biden's executive orders.
Yeah, we should do a dashboard with that.
Yeah, we could
put together a dashboard.
Yeah, there's got to be an open source dashboard somewhere that we can.
Yeah, I'll be going to bed soon, but I'm gonna be looking for one before I go to bed. You can bet your bottom dollar. It's got to be
Can we put a little just a little box up on our websites on Wix of current Joe Biden executive order count.
yeah, yeah. Oh, the EO count, the Biden EO count. You
Yeah,
betcha. You betcha.
I think that would GitHub or somebody's bound to have something there that we could do. We could use.
I'll be looking for one that I can. I can.
Well, and as I said, I think we could do. We'd have to organize this a little bit. Oh my God, that's
what you talking about, Willis? You gonna organize? Plan?
We could do. I'm sure at this point we could do a month and a half's worth of hour and a half or 2 hours just on executive orders. I mean, like one a day. We could easily do.
It's funny. You're right. It's funny that you mentioned it that way. Way back in 2008, on Blog Talk Radio, we were on this thing called Right. Was it called? What was it? What do they call it? Right, not Right Side. I forgot what they called it, but they had a bunch of the Republicans on one side of Blog Talk Radio and the left on the other. And Alan Levy, who was the CEO of Blog Talk Radio after the Obama win, said, when Obama wins, the Republicans won't have anything to talk about. Elizabeth Blackney called me and said, Alan is wrong. If Obama wins, we won't be able, there will be so much stuff happening, we won't be able to shut up. Obama will be good for business. And now we're back, we are back in almost the very same place, Paul.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah, I get frustrated, as I'm sure you do as well, at the fire hose is open and there's all of this stuff coming in and going, okay, what do I grab? Let's it's almost okay. Here's this. Let me throw this up here and see if that gets some traction. And okay, that didn't, but let me do this. And oh, that did. Okay, that worked.
Because there is so much.
Yes.
There is so much. And you're right. We could do, and so far, we could talk about one executive order a day for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Easily 6 or 7 weeks of.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. But, Joe Biden's, for all of you who thought that the election of Joe Biden and the end of the Trump era will be the end of the rest of us, it was going to be just the opposite. Going to be just the opposite.
I think if we did deep dive, I almost think that we ought to do that behind a paywall, but that's just me thinking.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's the best thing we can see what happens. All right. Well, it's getting late where I live.
It is. Oh, well, heavens.
Yeah. And today at work, it rained this morning and my feet got wet, and I'm too old for my feet to be wet for 6 hours and cold. And it was awful and terrible. So I napped when I got home, of course. And
that's all. Hey, a nap is always a wonderful cure-all for lots of.
It was going to happen. It was going to happen. At 8:30 this morning, I was thinking, I'm going to go home and go to bed. I just left, and I was soaked to the bone. It rained so hard because we were out at we're at a theme park, so we're outside. So I was soaked and angry, and I just when I go home at 2:00, I'm going to bed. And I came in here and I spoke to my wife for a little bit, and then I crawled right into bed, which I stayed until 7:00. I was in bed 4 hours. So the thing is, I got to make sure I get all this stuff done now, and then get to bed at a reasonable time. That way I can get up for church tomorrow.
All right.
This going to the Super Bowl party last week did not account for church.
Fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com.
That's it. Fightbackmedia.com. And on fightbackmedia.com, embedded in that website, because it's so good, is the SwansenReport.net, the SwansenReport.net, SwansenReport.net. It's embedded in the website. It was so good, I had to just put my big arms around it and
Aha.
pull that bad boy in. So, you know,
And
you can get all of it.
That's
You can
right.
get all of this in one place.
And fightbackmedia.com is right at the very top of the SwansenReport.net page.
You see how that works, y'all? How that works? You can get all of this. All of this. One-stop shopping.
I guess I'm if you're looking for Joe Biden EO counters, I'm going to have to process this and get this bad boy slapped up somewhere.
Okay, yeah, I am going to be looking for executive order counters for sure, because that's just too good an idea not to do.
Well, yeah, we'll get that up, and then we'll start. We'll start to carry forth from there, I think.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, Paul.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Give the wife a big hug for me. Tell her Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, sir.
And Paul, we're going to see and hear Paul on one of the morning reports sometime next month, no doubt. It's got to happen. It's going to happen. Hasn't happened in a while. It's going to happen soon.
All right.
Thanks again for inviting me out.
Yep. Thank you, sir.